Hello, David here with Technics, and today I'm going to be going over PyrOptix image processing software version 1.0. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the basic video viewer version option of the software, which is ideal for video streaming and recording. Some of the features found in the software are timed and manual video recording, timed and manual snapshots, 5 custom color lookup tables, automatic disk management, full screen mode, time-lapse overlay and camera label overlays, 5 customizable overlays, adjustable aspect ratio for full screen mode, brightness, contrast, and gamma adjustments, frame averaging, histogram equalization, optional remote iris and focus controls, an optional Technics watermark overlay, and automated time-lapse reporting options. Now let's open up the software and take a look at the features. Here you'll see our front panel display. I'm going to quickly go over what each of the controls on this front panel do. We have capture image, which takes a snapshot of the live image. We have auto capture image, which takes a snapshot at a user-defined interval. Record video, which records the live video. Record segments, which records video of a user-defined length and interval. Full screen, which goes in and out of full screen mode, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. We also have the settings button, which opens up the settings menu, which we'll talk about more later on. We have the about screen, which will tell you your version information. You can also access our manual here in PDF form, and tells you some other contact information and things like that. We also have exit, which will exit out of the program. And you'll notice in the top right, you can also exit by clicking on the red X. Let's move on to the settings menu and talk about some of the basic settings we have available. So over here on the left-hand side, you'll see the available network cameras. And this will display a list of all the available cameras that are found on your network. This scans every few seconds, and if any new cameras come up, that will populate this list. Right above this, we have the active channel, and this is actually the channel that we're looking at, which will be displaying the live image we see behind us. So if I were to change this right now, so currently we're looking at the IP address here. If we go up a channel, it'll move to this image. Moving on to the image capture settings. We have record interval, which defines the interval that is used for record segments, which we see on the front panel over here. The clip duration, which defines not only the clip length for each recorded segment, but also the clip length for recorded video. So when you're recording a video with record video, it will continuously record video in 5-minute durations, the way we have it set up right here. Whereas the record segments, every 10 minutes, it will record a 5-minute clip. We have snapshot rate, which defines the interval that the auto capture images are taken at. We have the video codec, which just defines the encoding method we use for recording and saving videos. And then we have the data storage file path, which is where all of the data is stored. So videos, snapshots, any CSV files or anything like that, they're all stored at this file path. And then right below it, we have the open video folder and the open snapshot folder. And this just takes you directly to those folders. Moving over to the live image settings, you'll notice there's a couple of controls that are grayed out and disabled. Those are for other versions of the software that we can cover in separate videos, which you should be able to find the links to if you're watching this on YouTube, on our YouTube page. But for now, I'm going to go over only the controls that pertain to this version of the software. So record with overlays simply means that any of the overlays you see on the live image, so right now we have 2 up here. We've got the timestamp and the Technics logo. They will be saved with the video or the image that you're recording. If this is disabled, you will get only the live image, which will be colorized if you have colorization enabled. So we have display Technics watermark, which enables or disables the watermark you see down there. Display camera label overlay. So we have the camera label control down here on the bottom, which right now I have labeled as Unit 2 Cam 1. And that'll show up in the top left of the image that you'll see on the live image up there. We also have the display timestamp overlay, which is the bottom right overlay we see there. So those can be turned on or off. We also have stretch image on full screen. And what this option does is when it's enabled, we'll see here, if we go to full screen, it will fill the whole screen, so it'll be 16:9 aspect ratio as opposed to the 4:3, which is typical for our cameras. Now this will stretch out the overlays because what we're doing is stretching the image out, but it will get rid of black bars on the side. And again, to enter into full screen, we just click on that full screen button we see here. And to get out, you can either click anywhere inside of the image or hit the escape key. We also have at the bottom here, display custom overlays. And these are overlays that are drawn by the custom overlays. So if we hit draw custom overlays, these are user defined overlays. I've drawn this one already. You can see here this blue line that kind of covers the shape of this bed. And I'll draw another one here just for the example. We'll draw a line that kind of covers these secondary airports. And if we want to change the color, we can do that too. So I'll set that one. And I'll draw another line here that's a different color. Let's do green. And we'll do it on the primary airports down here. And we'll set that one. So if we save these and click the display button, these should come up on the screen here. And so again, these can be saved or not saved with the record overlays option up here. If this is disabled, the videos we record will not save these overlays. However, if it is enabled, we will save all the overlays. Moving on to image manipulation, you'll see here we can enable or disable the overall image manipulation, and this will gray out a lot of features. And this window can be moved around if you want to try to get a better look at the live image itself. And so right now, if we enable image manipulation, it gives us the ability to adjust the gamma, the contrast, the brightness, things like that, as well as enable this image correction, which tries to level out the histogram of the image. And that paired with adjusting the brightness and contrast can give you a significantly better image if you're having some image quality issues. We also have the option for frame averaging, which can be seen here, and you can adjust the number of frames to average, which is helpful when there's a lot of motion in the scene. We also have different colorization options. 0 would be grayscale image, and then we can just go through each one, which are all different kind of color lookup tables. And that's it. If you do run into any issues where you've adjusted things out of whack and don't really like how they look, you can always use the reset to default option here, and it'll get everything back to normal. All right, moving on to the time-lapse settings up here at the top tab. You'll see again, there's a lot of controls that are disabled and grayed out, and again, that's because this version of the software does not support a lot of these controls, but we're going to discuss the ones that it does support here. So under basic options, we have two options that are available to enable or disable. Daily time-lapse enabled. It will enable a timed event that occurs at 12:05 a.m. to run any of the time-lapsing features. And the only one we have available, which we have checked here, is create snapshot time-lapse, which will basically stitch together the snapshots that were taken throughout the day. Moving over to the advanced options, we have the frame rate, which is just the frames per second that we save the videos as. We have the percentage of images to include, which is just the amount of images we want to include. So if we have a 10-minute video clip and we're saving 100%, if we change that to 50%, it will drop that video length down to 5 minutes. We have the open time-lapse folder, which will open up any of our time-lapse videos that we've saved. And we can take a look at one of the videos, although it's not too exciting because this one is a repeating video that we see here from the test that I'm doing. But you get the idea. All right, moving over to disk management. This is how the program manages the hard drive space available. So right now we have the threshold set to 85%, and when it reaches that threshold, it will reduce down to 50%. So if you have a 100 gigabyte hard drive, if it reaches 85 gigabytes, the software will trigger an event that causes it to delete the oldest half of the data until it reaches that 50% mark. And it does that by scanning the data storage file path. So any of the data stored in this file location is what it's going to be looking at and looking to delete. And like I said, it only looks at the oldest part of the data and deletes that first. So it's going to start with the oldest part and move its way forward until it gets down to that 50% mark. Under manual settings, the only one available right now is the run time-lapse generator, and this will allow you to manually run it. So if you've made some adjustments or something throughout the day and the automated time-lapse, you want to see something else, you can run the manual time-lapse and it'll stitch together those reports. Let's move on to output settings. So under output settings, the only option we have available here is the digital outputs. And this is only if you have the hardware associated with these options, which is the remote iris and focus controls. And once this is enabled, you have the option to enter in the digital output module IP address, which needs to match the module. We also have the steps per signal, which is the amount of movement that the iris and focus do each time the event is triggered. We have the digital output module connection status, which displays whether or not you are correctly connected to that module out in the field. And right now I'm not connected to one, so we see a red indicator here. If I was, it would be green. And then we have the actual iris and focus controllers. So you can see adjust the iris to the left or the right and the focus to the left or the right. All right, so that wraps up our overview for the PyrOptix image processing software basic video viewer version. If you have any other questions or concerns or comments, feel free to check out our website at www.entertechnics.com, as well as shooting us an email at support@entertechnics.com or checking out any other video on our YouTube channel for more information about our software. All right, thanks for watching.